The coach who wants everyone to believe that they're perfect doesn't understand this work. We are imperfect humans trying to have a great experience. We're spirits with an intellect in a physical body.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Tiffany Alexander. Welcome to Unveiling Journeys. As usual, I have an amazing guest for you today. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. This woman has changed my life, and she's going to continue changing my life, and she might just change yours with a little nugget of wisdom today. You get to hear her story, unveil the journey of how she got to where she is at right now, and I get to host it. I'm so excited. So with that, I get to bring on Miss Ellen Tyler. Tell us who you are and what are you doing right now?
Hi, Tiffany. I love that question. And it's really fun because the story changes all the time. We're really just a bunch of stories. But so where I stand today is someone that finally realized that apparently goals are always happening. And maybe I should circle back around and figure out that if it's always happening, I might need a little bit of help. And it led me back to one of the best coaches I've ever had and got to be mentored by Bob Proctor. And when he made the offer to come and do this work and help individuals, I thought, absolutely, let's go do this. And then your friends in my industry that I left thought I was nuts, but that's right.
Now, if anybody's thinking themselves, who's Bob Proctor? Pause this and go look up one of the most incredible, successful, positive mindset. You could go on and on and on. This is who Ellen embodies right now. And this is why I'm so excited to have met her, how our worlds intersected through the power of networking. Oh my gosh, high-level masterminds, the power of a one-up. When I meet people, I'm like, who else do you know that I need to know? And of course, we love being super connectors, being able to share people on our LinkedIn. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, connect with me. So that way you can get to know some incredible people that I've met, we're friends with, and that you could be friends with too. But in that, I know that you didn't start this way. Tell me, how did this start? Where are you from? What does this even look like?
Well, I think the ability for anyone is one to understand when you take opportunities, when a path comes up. I really was that person. It was like, my question always was, what's the worst that could happen? Because if I try something new, and I think having that type of framework and personality just served me well when I got in a situation in the profession. So I was in financial services for a really long time, doing a lot of different things, which helps when you are curious and you want to go do something new and different. But it was just settling in a place. We had moved from Chicago to Georgia, and I just found myself playing in a different sandbox that I didn't understand. And like everything, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And that's one of the first times that Bob popped in. And it was just that capability that helped me understand it at that point, and then have some pretty amazing results, which led to a lot of different things, because everything that we do in life leads to something different. And then we just choose and take a different path. That serves me really well. And to also understand we can create anything we want.
Right.
Anything.
Where did this start? You grew up in Chicago. And what did you want to be when you grew up? Like, what did you go to school for?
Okay, well, that's where it all started, I think, is that you don't always know where you want to go. But I was in a high school and they felt that they should be able to tell you from what you were good at in school, what you should do. Imagine that. So I liked science and math. Well, okay, because it was interesting to a 14-year-old to learn about that. So my first major was nuclear medicine.
I forgot about this. This is like a little refresher for me. What?
Yeah.
Nuclear medicine.
And this is where it started to change. And now I can look back and connect the dots. But when it's happening, you have no clue. I had a roommate who was in journalism. The school was University of Iowa, starting a new exchange program in England. Well, who doesn't want to go there when they're 19 years old? And the professor just looked at me and said, would you like to go? And I'm sitting there thinking, well, my major's not journalism. He just looks at me and goes, well, then just change your major for a semester. Like, oh, okay, let's do that. So I changed it for a semester and went, and we had the best time. We backpacked around Europe for a month. My roommate and I, we were the only two girls on this whole exchange program. I got all A's, which I kind of didn't understand because English wasn't my favorite topic in school. We were the only two who were offered to stay and finish our degrees there. Now, she stayed, I came home because my dad had fallen ill. But it took me a while to figure that out because I came back going, well, how the heck am I getting out of school now? Because I don't like science anymore. I don't like organic chemistry. And so I just changed to business because I had no clue, not, not a clue what to do with all of that. But I will say this, what I now understand is that I thought I wasn't good at English because I took what teachers were telling me as truth. And so I had to make up the story about how I got all A's in a class that I had never thought I would. And so we make up stories so we can accept what just happened, because otherwise it messes with your head and you think, maybe I should be in English.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. No.
Now you're getting me to rethink. I dropped out of my degree because I couldn't handle physics because I loved the math and science and
Yeah.
engineering aspect of
Yeah.
it. But what else was like holding me back then? Every time I hang out with you, there's always a fun little new revelation that I never had my 2020 look back, right?
Yeah. It's just a frame of reference that helps us understand when we're moving forward. Just remind myself, okay, I thought I wasn't good in English, but I got A's. So can I do that with something else? Can I do that with something else that I'm telling myself I'm not good at?
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, it's selling. For most people, it's selling.
Right. I'm having this revelation with my husband. He's in sales and he's like, I'm just not good at sales. I'm like, you're so good at it. People need things and you just offer it to them and you don't have to sell because people just need it. He's like, you do like talk yourself out of it before you give it a chance and it's just happening already. All right. So you changed your degree to business. What then? Did you graduate with business degree or change it again?
No, I came out of school with a business degree because, just because I thought about nursing, but when somebody told me I had to draw blood, I'm like, no, that's not happening. Some people love it, some don't. And I used to think, and I used to describe it as, again, paths just opened up and I was like, well, let's try this and let's try that. I graduated during a recession, which I didn't know that. I didn't even know what a recession was at that point in time because we don't know anything at 20, 21 years old. But I took a job in selling and eventually ended up in one of the mutual fund companies that moved us to California for a small blip in time. And then I discovered mutual funds are investing in science and math. I kind of like this. And being that young, I didn't question about sales. I just did what they told me. Again, if somebody tells me do this, this, and this, I will just do it until you tell me it doesn't work. And I thought, I'm actually pretty good at this. And if you take somebody who would have been labeled, I do not like labels in school, but if you have challenges with attention, selling is great because new people, new places, you get to travel. Okay, this sounds pretty good to me. And then it just took off from there. I just stayed in that world for a good long time.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of a track record. You've got like some numbers that are like legendary at this point. And the women that are looking up to you right now want to hear it.
Yeah. And I'm all about women in sales. And I got tired of hearing about women can't do well in certain industries. And even to this day, in financial services, women are still outnumbered. And then they think they can't play the game because it's just a game, people. It really is just a game. Get really good at it. Well, for an asset manager, I sold $1 billion, kind of like a big thing.
Kind of.
But here's what's really interesting about that. The advisors who think they have to find the magic way want to know how I did it. And then they don't really want to know how I did it because when I told them, they're like, well, that's stupid. Because I gave individuals Starbucks cards and Blockbuster cards when it was in existence. All it was to make people smile and happy and to have a reason for them to say, there goes the woman who has the Starbucks cards. That's it. But that doesn't mean that's the only way. It's just what worked for me.
Yeah. I think is that being different. You invented it. Did you get that advice from someone? You just figured it out?
No, I mean, the question always is, how can I get people to pay attention to me in a crowded space when I'm selling something where, where it's a little bit of a warmer introduction? And honestly, it was like, well, what would I like? What would I like if I'm this random sea of all the advisors out there to just get recognized by somebody for sharing business?
That's fun. What was that like? Were you like on a first name basis with your Starbucks shop because you're
Oh
in
my
there
God.
buying all those $5 cards? Or wait, it was a little.
Always wondering, why is she buying so many cards? Because at that point, you had to go into the store and I bought them in mass quantity.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like, let me buy a graduation one, let me buy a birthday one. It's like, I need 50 of these. And back then, they had to mark each one and scan it to allow it to go through. And I was like, they probably hate me at this point, but who cares? I would just go when it was off hours and they didn't really care.
Well, that's awesome. So you're right now inspiring people to say, oh man, think of something different. I had another friend say, be different in the sea of sameness,
Yes.
right? So sea of different financial advisors, they want to work with you. You've humanized this, right? And then there's a level of trust that gets involved and oh my gosh, you stand out, right?
It's just, how can you be of service and provide value? And if you start asking that question every day, you'll get some answers because, see, that's where selling gets all wonky for some people, is like they think I have to sell you this pen or something, whatever it is. And they go into sales mode, which is telling you the benefits. Well, who cares? It's really more, how can this work for me and why should I talk about this for my clients if it's a product for clients? And well, I was in financial services when they first started with the asset management, for anyone that understands that world, but it was just something new. So since nobody knew how to do this, you're just kind of like out there going, okay, no, nobody's done this before. And that's actually what I liked, is I liked never replacing somebody and always stepping into my own shoes.
Hmm.
I was always always the first woman at the asset manager. And then we try and get some more in there. And it'd be like two of us.
Right. I relate. I'm always like the only, like, hey, by the way, it's like a sea of men in here for sales or for events or seminars or, flipping houses or all the stuff that I do. I tend to like just challenge the norms. I think it's almost like I prefer the competition of, you can't do it. Watch me. I'm going to show you how. And then I'm going to crush it beyond your dreams because I can. And you
Right.
told me I couldn't.
Yep.
Speaking of told me you couldn't, you crushed it, and then you transitioned from there. At what point did you intersect your world to the next thing?
So the last company I worked for is a company that provided algorithmic portfolios. So there's a few out there. People can figure it out all on their own. But it was private. And so they were opening up Atlanta, Dallas, and Denver. And 10 of us were tasked with opening up the office. But what really didn't settle well with, let's say you were someone I was talking to and you gave me your portfolio to review, and I came up and really the reason why you should entrust us to manage this portfolio for you. And then when you decided to let us help you, I had to tell you that I wasn't going to be your point of contact anymore. Yet I'm sitting here thinking, I'm the bright, brilliant person who loves talking to people and getting their trust because I'm going to help them. It's the one time I really just felt like a salesperson,
Hmm.
like somebody who really just was checking things off the list to get it done. And I thought, I either need therapy or a coach. Like, it was either or. It was, I don't feel good. This is not helping me. People are entrusting me with millions of dollars and I can't ensure that they're going to have the best experience.
Oh, that's tough.
So that was tough. And so I started to think, okay, I just need a coach again. I have to figure my way out of this paper bag because it just seemed like this endless loop. And it was fortuitous because Bob was still alive. He passed away actually 3 years ago last month. he used to do these seminars called the Paradigm Shift, which was a 3-day. You would sign up, you could do it virtually. So I did that. Like, well, okay, I'm not that stupid twice in a row. I thought I am hiring them again because I had significant changes when I worked with him.
When was the first time you worked with him?
So the first time I worked with him was like early 2000, when
Okay.
way before the movie came out. And that's the thing that people don't understand. He was Bob before the movie. He was Bob who understood selling and insurance and asset management and all of that. Way back then, it was just that science mind was, okay, check the box. I did this. It's like passing a test. I'm going to move on to the next. I'm in the paradigm shift and I go, okay, I'm not that stupid 2 times in a row. I'm hiring them again. Hired them, started to go through the process. And about, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 weeks into being coached in their process again, Bob was great. He sent out this email with a video. Bob was a salesman, and he would tell you to this day, he was a salesman, even though he helped people understand how you can live the best life ever. And he said, hey, we're starting up this coaching and consulting division. You might have an interest in coming and learn what we do, how we do it, have the process, and get coached and mentored by the best of us. And that was pretty much all it took. I called my husband. I go, I don't know how much this is going to cost, but I'm going to do this. And so I called my point of contact. And of course, the salesperson I'm trying to get the fee I just paid them to be a coach to go over to the next one. She goes, no. I'm like, okay. Because, it's a commitment.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the end of 2018. My story is why people want to work with me is because of there's not a straight road. And so I chose to come and work with them. I resigned at the end of February. Anyone who understands financial services, they convinced me to stay because they needed to raise assets and they were having a contest. And shocker, there were 3 of us that would always win the contest. Who cares what we did every month? And so they said, and we'll give you what you earn with no clawback. And clawback for people listening means that if you're paid a commission and the sale doesn't go through, we're going to take the money out of your next check. And they said, and we won't do that.
Nice.
I'm like, what do I have to lose? It's 30 more days. Well, halfway through, the CEO called and asked me to stay longer. They were still private. They needed to go public. And I'm like, no, because if I do stay, I'm going to let the fear of going out on my own win. Now, you would think that would be the end, but nope, that wasn't the end. I left there in April of 2019. Now, everyone knows what happened in 2020, but I also had another little stop along the way. And that is, and I've learned, I am perfectly fine. But on July 7th of 2019, I had open heart surgery so they could repair a little valve that had decided not to work right. And then I had cardiac rehab with the 90-year-olds. That was fun. It was pretty entertaining. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. And so I just get to say, where in that timeline was the most opportune time to leave the safety net of what we think a corporate role is and go out on your own?
Wow.
Yeah. But that's not to say that that was the path I had to take. It was just the one that I took.
And now from you deciding to branch out on your own, what does that even look like? What does that mean? You are a Bob Proctor coach. You got to hang out with him, learn from him. You're one of his last proteges.
It really is one of the reasons that I chose to leave, because I looked at him at that time and he was about the same age as my dad. He was a little bit older. And my dad didn't have great health. And I thought, okay, what do I want in my future? And I don't believe in retirement. For those people that want to do that, I mean, great, God love you. But, when retirement system was created, it was because we average lived 2.5 years after that, not 30 like we do now. So it's always like, what can I be of value? I did think financial services was it. I thought I would be an advisor the rest of my life, but it was, I can do this and I can help people change their life. For me, it's the ripple effect. And I'm not the coach when somebody is, it sounds like it's not connected, but if they're all about the money, I'm not the person, even though I help people figure out the money, because that's the easy part. I only care for the clients that are doing this because they want to change their family, they want to change their life, they want to change their clients in their community. Then I'm a good fit because I got to see the ripple effect. So we have 5 children. 3 of them we adopted after the first time I worked with Bob, and we adopted them as teenagers from a different country. I get to see that ripple effect every day because 2 of them would have been alcoholic on the street pregnant, and they know that, like we talked about, and the one would have been trying to save them all the time. Well, the youngest is a functional neurology chiropractor who wants to cure migraines. When would she have had the chance to do that? So that ripple effect is why everyone should want to figure out how they can make life how they want it.
Yeah. And there's infinite ability as to where that goes from here. And if you have the ability to tap into somebody guiding your steps to choose the most abundant mindset thoughts about it, imagine what you could do from here.
Sky's the limit.
Absolutely. All right, so you're in with Bob Proctor coaching. This is your thing now.
This is it.
What does it look like? I mean, is that life perfect now because you're learning from somebody to always be happy and perfect?
No.
Thought I'd make you laugh.
Here's what I tell everyone. I think coaches become coaches so we can coach ourselves. And the coach who wants everyone to believe that they're perfect doesn't understand this work. We are imperfect humans trying to have a great experience. We're spirits with an intellect in a physical body. And I think for anyone to understand, there's going to be bumps in the road. I tell most, you're going to fall down and then you're going to have to get back up. Then you're going to fall down again and get back up. It's not a smooth journey. We're not wrapped in bubble wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I can't control what goes on outside of me. I can only control what I think about it.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite pieces of advice that you just live by that you learned from Bob?
Well,
There's
there's
so many.
There's so many, but I will start with a couple. Gratitude every single day, every day. And I know people hear that, but I don't think they really understand. It's not just to write, I'm happy that the sun is shining. Well, okay, but why are you happy that the sun is shining? Well, because I grew up in Chicago and you don't see the sun for 5 months out of the year. Gratitude to the point of what are you really thankful for? Because then, for whatever people believe, God or the universe is going to bring more of that. Times before gratitude, and this is actually harder for most than what it sounds, is to stand in front of the mirror and look yourself in the eye and tell you that you love yourself. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you 10 times. Most people have a hard time with that because they have to look in their eyes and in their soul.
Yeah. I could see that bringing some tears.
It is so important to understand, like, we get one trip here right now, that let's make it the best.
Yeah.
And if we're letting outside circumstances control us, that's the other thing I would say, ask if you're reacting or responding. That's a tough one for most.
Uh-huh.
But if you have children, like we react a lot to children, teenagers especially, or just anyone pushing our buttons. But if we just pause for 10 seconds and ask that question, you'll have better conversations with people.
Yeah.
And then I would say, there are so many, you can just tell me when to stop because I will just keep spitting them out. But
there's so many.
The part of the morning, well, back up. A lot of people want to believe that their past predicts their future. And that is not accurate. You can listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, all these individuals who do talk about that. Well, yesterday is done, so stop worrying about it. But it is to understand that you at the future goal already exist. And the role we each have is, how do I move up in energy to become that person? And one of the easiest ways is to start the morning and ask yourself, What's the new concept of me? I always call it Ellen 2.0. We're going to say the listeners sometimes are going to have to just like let that marinate because it is. So I'll use this. Let's say I want to increase my sales. Like I want to double my sales. And I go, okay, who do I need to be today? What concept of me do I need to be today to be the person who doubles their sales? Doing the same actions and activities that I did yesterday. Because I'm not necessarily telling people they have to change what actions they're doing. They have to change what they think about it. And sales is sometimes easy to use because a lot of people have a fear of calling or for whatever reason about what people think about them. Like you're going to do the same that you did yesterday, but from the vantage point of who you are in the future. That will speed up your achieving your goal faster than anything because you're bringing the future to your present.
There's so much you're unpacking. Some people are thinking, how can I find you? How can I work with you? Well, that's the best part is that you're going to go friend me, connect with me on LinkedIn. You're going to go through my friends and you're going to find Ellen. And then you're going to be connecting with her. And then you get to hang out with her and see if you guys click and see what it is that she could journey you through to level up your mindset. Because it's all about, well, you working on you and believing in you in the future you. I mean, just more cracking into that.
We teach people how to study themselves. That's it. There's no other magic. If somebody wants to think that there's a one and done, there's not. Study you.
That's so good. One of the last nuggets you wrote down for me that I think we could leave everybody with is while we are the problem, we are the solution. Answers are all around. That's incredible to think
you're the problem, you're the solution. Write it on a piece of paper, put it down, and come up with a different ideas. How do I sell 10 more sales? Come up with some ideas. You do that for a couple days and then take a look at your list and you have some answers. You have to Google it.
No, you're probably already know. You just somebody to walk you through seeing.
I always go,
like giving yourself the advice.
I go, Google your own self. Ask the question. I promise they have the answer. We all have the answer.
I love it. You are so wonderful to talk to. I think there have been so many moments we've had together that I feel like when I'm with you, I get to be my real self and be vulnerable. And she doesn't mean to, but every now and again, tears, man. It's like, oh my gosh, you've helped me have self-realization of this and that and all these things. And I want you guys to be involved too. So by all means, if I think of you, I'm going to refer you to her. Or if you're like, I need to know her, let me know. We'll connect you so that way you can be a part of this fun place too. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for your time, for coming on my podcast so I can share the world, you, and bring all of the great stuff that you're representing as a coach and being able to just transform everybody little bites and little nuggets at a time. That's it. I'm so happy that you're here today. Thank you again. Is there anything you want to leave with anybody before we go?
Get over your own fear and reach out to Tiffany.
Nice. Yeah. I won't bite. I promise, right?
I don't either, but I have been, people are sometimes fearful.
Yeah. And we wore power colors today. She's wearing the red and I was like, I should wear red. I'm like, no, let me go pink. Sure enough, we would have been twinsies if I'd worn red today. That's awesome.
Yep.
I love it. Well, thank you everybody for staying till the very end. I'm so excited for wherever you're going to head next. Friend us. We will catch up with you soon. Check out all the links and all the show notes below. And I will see you next time. Bye.